Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is Sunday, October 13, 2019. Howard, what do you think about the deal with China?
They're buying a couple soybeans from you?
$50 billion of soybean. I mean, there's never been a better time to be a farmer. I think I'm moving to Iowa, Howard.
Oh, is that the number they're saying? 50 billion?
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. Is that like a lot?
I think it's a lot.
So can the farmers pay everybody back or no? What's the deal?
I don't know. I don't know the details. It's Trump is saying this is just phase one of the deal, which means that probably this is just the beginning of not the end of the soap opera. So there's a lot more to come.
All right, let's get to it. You're in San Diego, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego.
San Diego. All right, there we go.
What about you? Are you back home?
Back in Phoenix.
Good.
At the markets. Okay. So what are we seeing?
Well, this is a chart of the S&P 500. So last week, I think the bulls made a strong stand. All the large cap indices, meaning the SPY and the QQQ, are back above their 50-day moving average. They're back near their all-time highs. I mean, granted, that candle on Friday was, it was not the most bullish one.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I am seeing a significant improvement in market breadth. And I tracked the 52-week high list. And last week, for example, the list was very small. It was dominated by defensive names like utilities and REITs. And on Friday, that picture was completely different. I mean, the list has expanded significantly, and then I saw a much broader participation on that list. We saw retailers, services, tech stocks, like multiple sectors, industries on the 52-week high list. And I think that's why I'm saying I'm seeing a significant improvement in market breadth, which I think we're back to market of stocks environment. And I'm bullish from a short-term perspective. I'm bullish.
Okay. All right. So let's go through some of the. I mean, if a deal is happening,
there is a deal. I mean, they said it's just part one of the deal. Yeah. It's a different question if.
Again, this we've been hearing about this for a year. So let's take a look at those stocks that benefited the most: semis and Apple. I think Apple closed at the highest, did it not? Well, there's a semi. Okay, so a little bit of a tail there on
Friday. It's basically new all-time highs. And as I said, I mean, most stocks closed off their highs on Friday, and if there is a big sell-off on Monday, that would be extremely bearish, but I don't really expect to see this. We'll see.
So markets are closed tomorrow?
No, they're not.
Oh, markets are open. Okay. Let's take a look at, so the semi is strong. Apple,
new all-time highs.
Yeah, we've been speculating that, or I've been speculating that with it's Apple. If we look back, have been strong. I mean, obviously the launches have been good on the new iPhone. There's lots of lineups. You've got, but the stock for about a month, other than the day of the Goldman downgrade, had been acting really strong, kind of hinting that there was going to be a deal done. So between that and I would say Taiwan Semiconductor and the semiconductor, where's Taiwan Semiconductor, which we've been looking at too, that probably closed at all-time highs. Yep. So I don't know. Who cares what, I mean, it seems like some people know there's been a deal cooking for the last month. And so now we got to look for what comes next.
Well,
So,
go ahead, Howard.
so that's the key. I think you said retail. So Lulu looked good, like you were showing. Nike.
Lulu, then also the discount retailers like TJX,
Wow.
Breakout,
Huh.
Burlington, I think. Like a bunch of the discount, like the high end and the discount retailers are definitely outperforming the middle ground. Semiconductors are strong. I think we're starting to see cybersecurity to come back. If the market rally continues, I think we might see another rotation, and this time from defensive stocks towards growth and cyclical stocks. Just because a week or so ago we saw quite a few REITs and utilities making new 52-week highs, and if we see that rotation towards more risk, those sectors will probably pull back.
All right. Okay. Well, let's go through the Momentum 50 and just see if anything interesting is showing up.
Yeah.
So Teradyne, which we've been talking about, SolarEdge, which so Restoration Hardware, another retail, high-end retail. LivePerson, which is an old enterprise company, Cirrus Logic, Service.
Yeah.
Okay. There's some growth names there. Edward Life Science.
Some of the ex-Momentum darlings, which took quite a hit in the past couple of months, they're starting to show some relative strength again. I mean, look at this service now. It's back above its 50-day, and it's kind of setting up here near 275. I mean, of course, they report earnings in about 10 days. Don't forget the new earnings season starts this week.
Yeah, so the banks are reporting.
A bunch of financials, yes. So, and I mean, quite a few of the ex-Momentum darlings are trying to kind of rally. That's why I'm saying that if this rally continues, we're going to see that rotation from utilities and REITs towards growth and cyclicals. And we might see those same names that took a hit in September and in the first part of October, they might outperform.
Not convinced, but I hear you. I mean, the price action, definitely.
Well, I'm saying market of stocks, right? I'm not saying that everything will go up. It's not just rainbows and unicorns in this market right now. I mean, there are definitely some stocks that are looking kind of weak. And for example, look at this one, Shake Shack. I think that they're kind of setting up potentially for a drop. They're currently about $90. I think if market weakens or just goes sideways, they might get hit.
So are all the restaurants kind of rolling there? McDonald's?
Not all of them, but yeah, kind of, maybe. CMG, I guess, is holding a little bit better. Let's see, Starbucks. Yeah, the restaurants as a group are not really looking amazing, but Shack is definitely standing out as a potentially bearish setup. I mean, that's a bear flag. If it loses that level here, let's call it 90, 50.
It's an interesting couple months in looking at these charts. That was a strong breakout.
It can drop 5-10 points. And I mean, there are quite a few. I mean, as I said, market of stocks, there's something for everyone. There are good short setups, there are good long setups. Personally, I think that if the market goes sideways or just continues higher, it just makes more sense to look for long setups. But that's just my personal preference.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other names that stood out for me that I'm watching that are newer ideas. Netflix is trying to bottom.
Yeah, let's take a look. Netflix rallying, it's still below its declining 50-day. They report earnings on Wednesday.
They report this Wednesday, okay, and then the banks, J.P. Morgan. So the banks, this could really help the indexes here. But again, So these things all kind of tailed on Friday.
It all depends on the interest rates. Last week they spiked again, and that's why we're seeing that pullback in the high yield utilities and REITs and consumer staples. I mean,
let's go back also to see where. Okay, so that's Coke. Yeah, nothing going on there. Look, what did the Fidelity came out with Freetrade? Did the brokers catch the bottom here?
Probably a dead cat bounce.
Oh, wow, so E-Trade bounced the biggest. What about Schwab?
All of them. I mean, as I said, they are considered financials, and when interest rates go up, they'll lift the entire financial sector for the most part. So
there's just a lot of heavy action too. So the index. So it's still headline. So in doing this tour, Ivan, I see it's still kind of headline driven. I guess people will truly take apart this first phase of the trade deal over the next few days. It's too hard for me to even follow at this point. There's so much news. But semiconductors and Apple, I mean, those are the ones that seem to be interesting. What about the biotechs?
I think the biotechs are also kind of setting up. I mean, they're looking horrendous, but look at those. This is a weekly chart. So we have the last 2 weeks, like a two tight range candles, especially the last one, and they closed very close to each other. I think that's a bullish setup in general, especially if it can trade above last week's high. So we might see a push towards 80 for MPI.
Take a look at
currently trading at 77 something. So
yeah, so there's just a lot of overhead resistance and a lot of stocks. So
I'm talking about next week. I'm not talking about longer term.
Yeah. All right. So I think we'll know more this week now that the news is kind of out. I'm just so confused by.
Are you bearish?
No. I'm just waiting to see more confirmation. I've got to, like you said, my ideas aren't working. It's a tough trend market. So the stuff that, there's just a lot.
Look at Apple and Lulu and Nike.
Okay, but those are working. But those, I'm not, the three that are working, but a lot of my ideas have not worked, from Twilio to Etsy to Amazon's been weak.
Maybe that'll change.
So. Yeah, I'm just saying I need to see some better price action. And the seasonally, we should be coming out of the wood. But again, with earnings here, I don't like to trade a lot around earnings.
Well,
Facebook seems to be Facebook. You're pulled up here. It seems just I'm not long anymore. I mean, it bounced where it needs to. It's just that company. Yeah, I mean the chart looks okay.
Yeah.
Chart looks okay. Let's pull up Amazon.
Amazon has been kind of the weakest one, but
yeah, it looks the weakest. What about Google?
Even though it's probably the strongest company, Google is holding well. Look at the weekly chart.
And then with China, let's take a look at Baba. If there's really something going on, we're really going to start. It's holding in there. So I don't know. I mean, I think we need some more price action. I mean, in the end, Apple, it broke out. So it's my biggest position. It's been my biggest position. Yeah, it's hard to argue against that price action. Lower highs from last year through all these corrections. That Goldman downgrade was the last chance to really buy it a month ago, and it's just been straight up. And it's working because the products are working. And so you can't be bearish with that. And I guess you throw up JP Morgan too. It's hard to be bearish when
as I said, I'm short-term bullish. I think we're back to market of stocks, and there are opportunities in good service for both bull and bears at this time. It just depends. What's your preference?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's somewhat constructive. So so that's good. That really helped me, Ivan. So let's stop it there. I think we'll get a little more clarity over the next month. And it seems like there'd be just a lot of time to get long. Like I said, like with Facebook acting a little bit constructive despite all the negative headlines, Amazon seems to be the weakest, Netflix trying to bottom, Google constructive, and interest rates, all the talk of negative interest rates, all this negative interest, this debt, and rates have reversed. So there's some fuel for the markets to rise here. So we'll see. All right. Thanks, Ivan.
All right. Thanks, Howard.